Hola mi gente, welcome back to Cat and Too Many Books. I'm Cat and I am back, yay! Not a very quick, too long of a break. I wasn't feeling great last week, and so I skipped a couple of weeks of videos. I had some things to do, but I am back to do two things. I am going to talk about what I'm reading, I'm going to talk about what I read in February, so a bit of a wrap up, I guess, of kinds. And I'm going to talk about my reading possibilities for March. So basically, this is just a bit of a catch up vlog that has everything. So let me just go ahead and get started on what I read in February. I actually only read 3 books in February. It was a very slow month for me. But still, that's not awful. At least I read some. And the 3 books that I read, I really quite enjoyed. I actually gave them all 4 or 5 stars. 4 or 5? Yes, I gave them all 4 or 5 stars. So let me go ahead and just talk about the books that I have read in February. I read the second in the Binti series. I read Binti Home by Nidhi Okorafor. This follows Binti and the ramifications of everything that she went through in the previous book, the trauma that she's still healing, and it really dove into what that has done to her. She's definitely having some sort of PTSD situation, and she's having a hard time dealing with a lot of what happened to her in the first book, and so she returns home to where she came from, and it was difficult to sort of read how people treated her. This was a really interesting sort of maybe look into what happens when people blame the victim about what has happened to them, and that's very much what happens. So it's a really interesting sort of look into that, and also Binti being able to find her own strength, being able to really look into her power even more, and finding out more secrets about her own family, her own origins. It is left on a bit of a cliffhanger. Her best friend, closest friend, which is that person, them back there, we're unsure of their status at the end of the book, so it's a bit of a cliffhanger. It looks like perhaps in the third book, Binti is maybe on a mission to rescue them or to find out what's happened, and to, I think, really avoid some kind of big battle. That's the sense that I'm getting. So I think we're really building up into this huge thing in the third book. I do think it's the last book, so I'm looking forward to that. I gave this 4 stars, I believe. It was very, very good. I love Okorafor's writing. I do. I love it so much. It's incredible. She really looks into so many issues in such a way that you really sort of dig deep into them through the characters that she's sort of talking about. So yeah, I highly recommend this series if you haven't read it yet. Next on my list for February was a book that I had been looking forward to reading for a while, and I was reading it because the third book in this series just came out at the end of February, near the end of February, and I wanted to be able to read it, so I had to read the second one first, of course, and that was Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands by Heather Fawcett. I adore Emily Wilde. I'm so in love with this series. I've said it several times, I like fantasy. I'm not a big fae person, though. I'm not big into fae stories, but this has been one that has really gripped me. I love this so much. I really enjoy the lore that I'm reading, because I feel like a lot of the fae stories are just, fae are beautiful. Fae are all like overly sexualized. Fae are just, the most gorgeous beings, and that's not true necessarily. And while it may be, most of it is glamour, and so I really like that this particular series shows that a lot of what they see is glamour, and the fae are absolutely horrendous and scary sometimes, and sometimes they're not. For the most part, they are, because in the fae stories that I remember reading as a child, fairies weren't nice. So I really appreciate that this stays with that. Although there are, like everywhere, there are good and not so good and terrible phase. So, and of course, my favorites are Emily and Wendell. And Wendell is generally one of the best characters. He reminds me so much of Howl from Howl's Moving Castle. Just he's so much. He's so much. But I love him. He's so funny. I love how much he loves Emily. I love that he just literally he just wants to be comfortable. He wants, like, I can relate to Wendell. He just wants to be sitting at home with his pet and the person that he loves, and he wants to just hang out and just have tea and just be comfortable in a comfortable space that's nicely done. And that, yeah, like, I'm like, yes, I get you, Wendell. I'm with you. He's also quite vicious and terrible when he wants to be. So love him so much. In this one, we're following the two of them. This is after, of course, the events of the first book where they escaped the ice fairy and have made it back home. And they are back at Cambridge or Oxford. Is it Oxford? Wherever it is they're at. I can't remember right now. And they are attacked. I'm not giving much away. This is in the synopsis. They're attacked, or specifically Wendell's attacked. And so they have to figure out why they're being attacked. So they have to go back to Wendell's home so that he can confront his mother. And that's just, the rest of it is just their adventures to finding the door to Wendell's realm and, trying to figure out how to stop people from killing him. It's really great. I loved it. It's, I think, 4.5 stars. I don't think I gave it quite 5 stars, but I gave it 4.5. I loved it so much. Highly recommend this series. And last but not least, this book was a real big surprise. I picked it up because I was so shocked that I'd never heard of this person before. And I really wanted to get more information on them. I am actually going to go look for nonfiction books about this person. I don't know if there any exist, but I read Harlem Rhapsody by Victoria Christopher Murray. And this is the story of Jessie Redmond Faust, who was a very influential woman in during the 1920s Harlem Renaissance. She discovered and mentored many great Black authors and poets, such as, oh my gosh, Langston Hughes. What is my mind? Langston Hughes, Countee Cullen, Nellie, who I had not actually known much of. I think I'd read 1 or 2 poems by her. Nella Larson. I read a couple by her, but she mentored them and many more. There's so many mentions of so many great artists and writers and poets in this that she personally mentored and published. She became the first Black female literary editor for a Black magazine, which was the Crisis, the NAACP's magazine at the time. And it was, I loved this character. I loved this narrative story about her life. I was frustrated with her relationship with W.E.B. Du Bois. I was frustrated with Du Bois, and I think you're supposed to be reading some of the author's notes and understanding, because I didn't know how to feel about him and his portrayal, because he is such an important figure. And I was like, just frustrated. I think he's very humanly written. And he was known to be misogynistic, and he was known to be unfaithful to his wife. So this all kind of tracks with the book. And it was there was a lot of frustration, because while I know why the story was told the way it was, because really her relationship with W.E.B. Du Bois was during her time as literary editors. To tell this story, you sort of have to sort of have the relations together. I really wanted to know just more about her. but the relationship was so important, I think, in it as well. And I don't know, it was really good. I don't know how to, it was great. I gave this 4 stars, maybe 4.5. My frustration made it unavailable, unable to give it 5 stars, I think. But I really, 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 really love this. And I'm gonna definitely pick up more Victoria Christopher Murray. She wrote The Personal Librarian, which I have on my TBR. And not this TBR, but like one of my other TBRs. And I think I'm going to pick it up because I really did enjoy the writing. I was so super interested in this story. And I really, really, really loved Jessie Redmond Faust. And I'm going to look forward to finding out more about her and looking into some nonfiction things about her. So that is all for what I read in February. I read 3 books in February. Pretty nice average though for February. It wasn't terrible. And so now I want to talk about the things that I will be reading in May and some of the things I am currently reading. Okay, so I have several books that I have on my possibilities, and this is just possibilities. I may just pick up books that I want to. Thanks, Bonnie. She's a bit right now. They're both, what is happening, guys? My goodness. Okay, as I was saying, I have several books that I want to sort of have on my possibilities. So let's talk about the books that I want to read in March. I have quite a few on my list of possibilities, but then I'm not letting this be these are the only ones I might read. I may pick up some other ones because, of course, it's March, and it is Irish Readathon month. It is middle grade March month, as well as I think like mystery March. So there's so many different things that are out there for me to read. So I'm going to definitely keep myself open to whatever comes my way and whatever I want to read. But yeah, let's look at some of the books that I will be hoping to be reading, some of that on my TBR of what I'm interested in, of things that I have, and some library hauls that I have, some library books. And yeah, so let's get going on those. I'm going to start with the books that I am currently already reading, because we are, about 7 days in now to March. So I've been reading some books. So let's look at the 3 that I am currently reading. I am reading Storm of Locust by Rebecca Mournhorst. This is the second book in the 6th World, maybe it's a duology series, I don't know, whatever it is. But yes, I am looking forward to diving into this one this month. Next on my list is one that I just got. I'm so excited to read this because this looks like so much fun. It is Voyage of the Damned by Frances White. I think this is like a phenomenon on Book Talk, I guess it is, and it comes from the UK. So I think we just really got it here recently. This cover is gorgeous. Like the library plastic, because it's a library book, but the plastic from the library kind of doesn't let you see how pretty it is. If I love this, I am planning to buy it because the inside cover, I've seen it at the bookstore. The underneath cover is beautiful, and then the end pages are amazing. And also, it has a map. So yeah, so this is the story about Concordia. So it is like this world made up of 12 provinces, and they've all lived peacefully for 1,000 years so far. And so the Emperor has the ship that's going to embark on a 12-day voyage to the Sacred Goddess's Mountain, and a representative from every province is there. And they all have some kind of unique and secret magical power known as the Blessing, except for one of them. That's their name is Ganymedes Pesario, clown, slacker, and all-around disappointment. So he doesn't seem to, or they don't seem to have any power. The book it's a murder mystery. So it's a murder mystery on the high seas with like 11 magical beings, and one of the heirs is murdered. So one of the representatives, which they're the heirs of the different provinces, is murdered, and I guess the one without the powers, I'm going to call him Ganny, has to figure out who's doing it. And I guess it becomes a little bit like And Then There Were None. I think they start killing off the heirs one by one. I don't know how many they managed to kill off, but I feel there's more than one that dies. And before anybody else dies, I think Ganny's trying to figure out who's doing it and why it's happening. It's supposed to be really funny. It's supposed to be like a really good mystery. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I love it. This feels very much like something I would have read in the 90s when I was a teenager, and I loved these kind of books that were kind of wacky and like awesome and mysterious and all that. So I'm really excited to read it. I've already started reading a little bit of it. And yeah, I am looking forward to finishing this one. The next one I have begins my books for the Irish readathon, basically. So I've got a couple of books here. 3? Yes. I've got 3 books here that are specifically about written by Irish authors or have Ireland in them in some way, even if they're not written by an Irish person. Ireland is a part of the story. So the one that I'm currently reading right now is actually Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey. I read Migrations by Charlotte last year and loved it. Literally loved it. I love her writing. Her writing is ethereal. Is that the word I'm looking for? It's just beautiful and wispy. I don't even know how to explain it. And powerful. And I just really, truly just love Migrations. I think I gave Migrations 5 stars. It was heartbreaking. It was beautiful. It was dark. It was so many things. And this is looking to be very similar to that. So this one is the story of 2 sisters. And they are trying to bring wolves back into wilderness. Like they are extinct. They have 12 wolves that they have basically bred and are putting back into a specific place in the wilderness to see if they can thrive again. And then I think in the village, around the village that they set them free, villagers murdered. It seems one of the wolves did it, but one of the main characters doesn't believe that and starts investigating because it seems that somebody else killed the villager and maybe is trying to blame the wolves. I'm not 100% sure exactly what's happening, but it really is a story about 2 sisters who have had some very traumatic things happen to them, it feels like. I'm not sure what that is. I haven't gotten there yet, but it seems really, really, really good. The sister who we're looking through, which I think her name is Anna. Is that right? Nope. Inti. Inti Flynn. The sister's name is Aggie. She's the one that you're really seeing the story through mostly. She has this, I don't want to say ability. It's more like a curse. I would say this thing that happens to her when she's watching something happen to a person or an animal, she can feel their pain. So it's like a neural, like a neural thing in her brain that happens. Like her visually seeing it causes physical pain, and so that comes into play a little bit. And yeah, it seems really good. And yeah, I'm reading it currently. So this is the first one in my little Irish readathon thing that I'm reading. I'm going to try to go through the other ones a lot faster because I don't want this to be a very big, long video. So I'm just going to go through them. Those are the 3 that I'm currently reading. So I was kind of talking about those, but I'm just going to show the ones that I may read now. So next I have The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. This is an Irish author. The story is basically about a bookshop that has some kind of magic in it. There are 3 different stories that I think come together at some point. They're set in 3 different times, and they are, of course, set in a bookshop in Ireland. The last one that I have that has like Irish in it is actually, of course, the one that I am so looking forward to. I highly, highly, highly anticipate this particular book. I'm so excited to have it. And that is Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Fawcett. This is the 3rd in the Emily Wilde series. I don't know if there's any more. I don't know if this is a trilogy. I'm hoping we get more because I love these two characters so much. And this is about Emily and Wendell going back to his Feyland, and of course he's Irish, and so the Fey world they're returning to is an Irish Fey world. So there's a lot of Irish folk tales, there's a lot of Irish culture in this one, and so I thought that would be a perfect time to read it, and I'm very excited. I also really love this particular cover. It's huge. I didn't know it was going to be this big. It's actually the UK cover because I love the UK covers the best. But I'm going to have to look into seeing if they have a smaller one of this, or if they're going to make a smaller one because it's kind of big. But anyways, so yeah, I'm looking forward to this one so much. Now the rest are just books that I kind of thought of when I looked at and was like, oh, I really want to get to these, and so I'm going to go through them very quickly. First off, of course, I really do want to read The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This is supposed to be one of the best fantasy sci-fi series ever, and it of course it has to do with basically an apocalyptic situation happening, like an apocalyptic event. I believe the main character is trying to track down one of their missing children. And that is all I really know. I know that they go through so much to do that. So yes, this is one that I'm hoping I get to. The next one I have is The Friday Afternoon Club, a family memoir by Griffin Dunn. I talked about this. Griffin Dunn is an actor from the 80s and 90s. I believe he's written books as well later in life. He is still currently an actor, but he doesn't act as often. And it is about his family. He's got he's got like godparents and that are like famous actors, family members. His sister was an actress in the 80s who was killed by her boyfriend. Their dad became like an advocate for victims because of that. And so it talks about his family. I think it does start with that particular event happening and kind of goes back through, I think maybe them in their childhood, and then kind of talks about the whole family. So it feels like it's going to be a really interesting read. Next, I'm really looking forward to this one. I hope I get to it, and that is Ghostly Echoes by William Ritter. I've had this in my last, some of these I had in my last TBR, but I'm still really interested in reading them. This is the third book in the Jacoby series. I love Jacoby and Abigail. I love how their friendship is amazing. I love how they didn't romantically pair them. Sometimes that works. Sometimes I like having people just be awesome friends and work together. I do feel like we're going to talk about Jenny, which is the ghost that lives in Jacoby's house, and who I believe there's a like undercurrent of romance between Jacoby and Jenny. And I think we get to find out who murdered Jenny and what happened. And I'm not sure where we'll go from there, but I think that's where we're at in this one. Next, I have Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This is a sort of retelling of the Knights of the Round Table. So the Legend of Merlin and Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. The main character is going to college. Her mother has just died. And when she reaches college, she gets involved in some sort of, I'm assuming, mystery, some sort of situation with the group that is the descendants of the Knights of the Round Table, and they themselves, of course, are, I guess, Knights of the Round Table. They have powers. I think she has powers. Then she finds out that her mother's death was an accidental, and it has something to do with the group and something to do with what they're fighting. And I think that's when she becomes involved in it. This sounds really, really good, super exciting. I hear people love this so much. I'm really looking forward to giving it a go. The next one I have is a middle grade, I believe. If it's not middle grade, it's young adult. It's one or the other. I'm not 100% sure, but it's The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. And so this is about, I forget her name. What is her name? Dika. And her tribe, I think it's her tribe, has this blood ceremony that you have to do when you turn 16, and she's so scared because she's afraid that her blood's going to run gold, which I guess is bad in her culture. And when she does the ceremony, apparently it does run that color, and she has to go on the run. is what I feel like, but discovers that what they've been told about that is untrue. And I think she goes on some sort of discovery and adventure to find out the truth behind everything. That is vaguely what it's about, and that is vaguely what I know that it's about. So, and lastly, I actually just got this earlier this year, and I've been wanting to do a reread. And so if I do a reread this month, this is the reread that I'm going to do, and that is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. I've been wanting to find a really nice cover that I love, and this is wonderful. It's also hardcover, and this is one of my favorite books, really. I love epistolatory books, and so this is obviously an epistolatory. It is letters that Celie, the main character, writes to God and to her sister. All right, I just had a brain break there for a second. It's letters that Celie writes to God and Celie writes to her sister, talking about the things that are happening to her in her life and all the trials and tribulations that Celie goes through. Celie's a fantastic character. My favorite character is Sophia, of course. And actually, no, my favorite character might actually be Shug. I love Shug so much, but I do adore Celie and Sophia, and yeah, this is such a great story. I love it so much, and I'm excited to read it. I might do a rewatch of the movie The Color Purple. I do love it, although I should probably give the go watching the musical. I saw the musical on stage. I should maybe watch the musical movie, but anyway, yes. So this is the last book I have on my TBR this month. Those are all the books, the possibilities for this month, and the books I am currently reading and what I read before. So we are now caught up on what I've been doing, and I think that is it for now. If you're reading any of these books, please let me know. If you have read them and I want to recommend one of them ahead of the others, please write that down in the comments. Please let me know what you're doing for March in the comments. Comment, subscribe, like, whatever that helps my channel, and I am hoping to see you very soon. I will have another video up on Sunday as well, because I do have one that I was in the process of editing before I just got tired and had to kind of take a little bit of a break. So I will have that one ready for Sunday, and so I will hopefully be back on schedule for my like every Sunday kind of situation. I will talk to you guys really soon. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye.